A story of Chioma, the Osu Maiden who gave birth to a beast.
Story time. Come, my people. For tonight, I will tell you a story of beauty and sorrow, of love and sacrifice. A story from the ancient village of Ohiya. Ehe. It all began many, many generations ago. Long ago, in the ancient village of Ohiya, there lived a family whose name carried both beauty and sorrow. They were called the Osu family. To understand their fate, you must hear the story of how it all began. Many generations earlier, Ohiya was struck by a great calamity. The rain ceased, the rivers dried, children died from strange diseases, and warriors lost battles they should have won. Evil upon evil, sorrow upon sorrow. The people worried, and their land was filled with fear. The elders gathered in the village square. They poured libations, they broke kola nut, and they consulted the gods. The diviners cast their cowries, and the gods answered, "To avert this calamity, we demand a sacrifice. Not goats, not wine, not yams. A virgin must be given to us. She shall be our wife, untouched by mortal man. From her womb no child shall ever be born. She shall belong to the gods for eternity." The villagers called all the maidens of the land to undergo the traditional test. One by one, the virgins were examined, but only one was chosen. Oda, the most beautiful maiden from the Anko family. So it was that Ada, young and innocent, became the first Osu. She was offered as a living sacrifice. Her life ended at the shrine, but her shadow lived on. From that day, her entire lineage was marked as Ndi Jiri Gosi Chi, those reserved for the gods. Every maiden born into the Anko family became automatically the wife of the gods. No man could marry her. To touch her was to invoke wrath. Thus, the curse of the Osu began. Generations passed, and the stigma grew heavier. The maidens of that family were shunned like lepers. People avoided their shadows in the marketplace. Suitors never dared to cross their threshold. Men whispered, "If you marry an Osu, you invite death into your home." For centuries, people avoided them. If an Osu man touched your farm tools, you threw them away. If an Osu woman entered your gathering, you shifted aside. And if a man dared to marry an Osu maiden, calamity followed. Stories were told to frighten the young. A hunter named Anini married an Osu girl in secret. On their wedding night, he heard a baby cry in his hut. When he struck a light, he saw not a child, but a creature with the head of a goat lying on their bed. Before dawn, he was dead. Another man, a wealthy trader, brought home an Osu wife. The very next market day, all his goods turned to ash before the eyes of his customers. By the time the sun set, he had gone mad. Fear lived in every heart. Now, it was the 21st century, and into the same uncle family, a maiden was born whose beauty could make the sun hide in shame. Her name was Chioma. Her skin glowed like fresh palm oil. Her eyes shone like the morning river, and her laughter was sweeter than the flute of the masquerade. She often wondered why men stayed away from the maidens in her family. One night, her mother told her the history of their lineage and how the curse came upon them. Chioma could hardly believe such a tradition still existed. Men came from far and wide to seek her hand in marriage. Yet when they inquired about her family, the truth chased them away. She is Ozu. She belongs to the gods. One after another, they left. And every night, Chioma sat under the moonlight, tears streaming down her face. She whispered, "Chiem, why give me beauty if I am not meant to marry?" Tired of sorrow, Chioma left Ohiya for the city. There she discovered another world, bustling streets, glowing lights, and churches where voices rose like thunder. She joined a choir, lifting her voice in praise and praying for her fate to change. It was there she met Uche, a young man of bold spirit and kind heart. From the moment he saw her, he was captivated. He loved her laughter, her gentleness, her beauty. When Uche asked for her hand, Chioma trembled. With tears in her eyes, she said, "Do not love me. I am Osu. Men who marry us die. Our children are cursed." But Uche smiled and replied, "Tradition cannot bind love. We are in the 21st century. The gods of old have no power over us. I will marry you. Her heart melted. Against warnings, against whispers, against omens, they married. But the gods were not silent. When Chioma bore her first child, the midwife screamed. The baby cried like a goat, its body twisted, its face unrecognizable. Then it died few minutes. People whispered, "She has given birth to an animal." A second child came, this one with the face of a monkey. A third was stillborn, covered in scales. Fear spread through the city. Markets rejected them. Neighbors avoided them. Even the church whispered, "They are cursed." Uche's heart grew heavy. He prayed, he fasted, but strange dreams haunted him. In one, a voice thundered, "Return to Ohiya, the gods await you." Desperate, Uche took Chioma back to the village. They stood before the shrine of the great deity. The air was heavy with incense. The drums beat slowly like a heartbeat, and the priest's voice echoed like thunder. "Uche, you have broken the law of the spirits. Chioma is not yours. She belongs to the gods. Any man who marries her must pay with his blood." But Uche fell on his knees. "I will not leave my wife. I chose her, and I will stand by her. Tell me, what must I do?" The priest glared at him. "Then you must give the gods what is most precious to you. Flesh from your body, life from your life. A man who cannot sacrifice cannot love." The crowd gasped. Uche trembled, but then he raised his right hand. "Take this hand," he said. "If losing it will give me life with my wife, let it be so." The priest lifted the knife. But just before it struck, the ground shook, the shrine trembled, and a mighty voice thundered from the heavens. "Stop! This man's love is pure. Never has a mortal shown such devotion. No longer shall Chioma be bound to us. Their union is blessed. Their children shall live." The people fell to the ground in awe. Uche and Chioma walked out of the shrine hand in hand, their eyes filled with tears, not long after she gave birth again. This time the baby was strong and perfect, a child of flesh and blood. From that day, the curse in Ohiya was broken. The Osu family was freed from shame, and the people learned that love, when true and sacrificial, can even bend the will of the gods. But, my children, listen well. Though this is the tale of Chioma, even today in some villages of Igbo land, the Osu stigma still lives. Some towns have abolished it, but in others the whispers remain. Families are still marked, sons and daughters still rejected, marriages broken by fear of an ancient curse. So I leave you with these questions. Do you know the history of the Osu in your land? In your own village, has the practice been abolished, or does it still live in secret? And if your brother or your son fell in love with an Osu maiden today, would you allow him to marry her? The story ends here, but the question lives on.